Salam Keluarga Malaysia. Hello and good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. I'm Mohana Priya and you're watching Updates at Noon. Making the headlines today, chicken and egg subsidies extended till end of the year. Malaysia and Japan agree to upgrade relations. Yang di-Pertuan Agong Al-Sultan Abdullah Riayatuddin Al-Mustafa Billah Shah and Raja Pemaisuri Agong Tunku Hajah Azizah Aminah Maimunah Iskandaria left last night for London to make a special visit until 16th October. The special aircraft carrying their Majesties departed from the Royal Malaysian Air Force Base Subang at 9:30 p.m. Among those who sent off their Majesties were Dewan Rakyat Speaker Tan Sri Azhar Azizan Harun and Deputy Foreign Minister Datuk Kamaluddin Jaafar. Their Majesties are accompanied by their daughters Tengku Puteri Raja Tengku Puteri Afsan Aminah Hafidzatullah, Tengku Puteri Raja Tengku Puteri Ilyana and Tengku Puteri Raja Tengku Puteri Jihan Atiyatullah. During the visit, His Majesty is scheduled to have an audience with King Charles III at Buckingham Palace on 12th October. On the same day, Al-Sultan Abdullah and Tunku Azizah are also scheduled to officiate at the opening of the Battersea Power Station, Malaysia's iconic project in London. The 16.99-hectare real estate project is a joint venture between Sime Darby Property, SP Setia Berhad, the Employees Provident Fund and Permodalan Nasional Berhad since 2012, with a gross development value of 51.53 billion ringgit. The subsidies for chicken breeders and egg distributors have been extended from October until December this year, in line with an accord achieved in a cabinet meeting last Friday. The decision would reduce the financial burden on breeders following increased operation costs, which have persisted for the past few months, involving a cost of chicks, logistics, workers and utilities. According to Agriculture and Food Industries Minister Dato Sri Dr. Ronald Kiandi, the rate of subsidies will be 80 cent per kilogram for chicken and 8 cent per egg. The subsidy payments would be deposited directly into the accounts of farmers via Agrobank as per existing mechanism, involving private breeders, integrator or semi-integrator breeders and contract breeders. The ministry would ensure that the payment process was implemented smoothly to guarantee continuity in production at the farm level. Datuk Sri Dr. Ronald also said the government is committed to ensuring that the poultry industry remains sustainable by continuing to give subsidy, apart from ensuring timely and adequate supply of chicken and eggs at reasonable prices for the benefit of Keluarga Malaysia. Malaysia and Japan has agreed for the strategic partnership between the two countries to be upgraded to a strategic comprehensive partnership. Foreign Minister Datuk Sri Saifuddin Abdullah said in order to coordinate the upgrade, Malaysia has started discussions at the official level by identifying areas of cooperation for the benefit of both countries.
Sehubungan dengan itu, saya dan Tuan Yang Terutama bersepakat untuk mesyuarat dua hala antara pegawai kanan Kementerian Luar Negeri masing-masing diadakan dalam masa terdekat bagi memperkukuhkan bidang kerjasama itu, dan ia harus mengambil kira perkembangan keselamatan serantau dan antarabangsa.
He said this during a joint press conference with Japanese Foreign Minister Yoshimasa Hayashi in Kuala Lumpur, who is currently on a two-day visit to Malaysia. On regional and international issues, Datuk Sri Saifuddin said Malaysia and Japan are greatly concerned about the developments in Myanmar. The two countries also agreed to continue their cooperation in finding the best solution to the situation in Myanmar, be it within bilateral Malaysia-Japan cooperation or cooperation within the ASEAN framework. Meanwhile, Hayashi said Japan would like to strengthen the cooperation with Malaysia to realize the principle of a free and open Indo-Pacific in dealing with the geopolitical issues plaguing the world today. The government had examined and finalized several measures that would be implemented in order to restore the dignity and sovereignty of the country in relation to Batu Puteh, Middle Rocks and South Ledge, especially involving the issue of Malaysia-Singapore maritime border. Now, the Special Task Force to review laws relating to the issue has presented its final report to the Cabinet. Minister in the Prime Minister's Department for Parliament and Law, Datuk Sri Dr. Wan Junaidi Tuanku Jaafar, said various approaches have been implemented by the Special Task Force, such as studying and reviewing documentation and related materials, as well as holding discussions, making working visits within and outside the country, having consultations with legal experts and hydrographers, and interview sessions with identified individuals. He said the Special Task Force had also submitted several recommendations for the government's consideration for the purpose of appropriate follow-up actions, including legal aspects, tort of misfeasance, and Malaysia-Singapore ties. Datuk Sri Dr. Wan Junaidi said the improvements proposed by the Special Task Force were transparent, neutral, and inclusive by considering the results of analysis, research, and observations of its members. The Malaysian Meteorological Department, Met Malaysia, has issued a first category warning of strong winds and rough seas over the waters of Sabah next week. Met Malaysia, in a post on its Facebook page, said that strong northwesterly winds of 40 to 50 kilometers per hour, with the waves reaching heights of 3.5 meters, are expected to hit the waters of western Sabah and Labuan between Wednesday and Saturday. This condition is dangerous for small boats, sea recreation and sea sports. It also added that a similar condition is expected to hit the waters of Condor, Reef North, Layang-Layang, Labuan and Palawan in the same period. The National Sports Vision, VSN 2030, launched by Prime Minister Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob, has taken into consideration the latest trends in line with the Keluarga Malaysia aspirations. Olympic Council of Malaysia OCM President Tan Sri Muhammad Norzah Zakaria said the sports blueprint for the next 10 years revolves around the development of human capital, namely athletes and coaches. Tan Sri Norzah also expressed his appreciation to the Prime Minister for launching the action plan in conjunction with the National Sports Day 2022 in Putrajaya. The offer of scholarships and provision of further study opportunities to outstanding athletes who win medals from the Malaysia Games Sukma up to international championships recognised by the government would surely be the catalyst for ambitious athletes to get on the podium without giving up their dreams of achieving higher education. This will also expand the group of athletes with intellect to manage their careers when they reach the pinnacle and then go on to retire. Tan Sri Norzah said the VSN would also provide opportunities for former athletes to contribute back to sports. The Malaysia Electronic Sports Federation, MESF, has called on all parties to study and scrutinize the management of allocation under Budget 2023, which saw esports receiving 13 million ringgit. MESF President Dato' Anand S. Nathan said the allocation should be used for a more systematic and focused development of the country's esport. He said MESF, as the governing body regulating the development of national esports, did not receive or had the opportunity to use the allocation which had been announced in the budget tabling in the years before this. Dato' Anand said this is also worrying because the main purpose of the announced fund allocation would most likely not achieve its main goal. Therefore, Dato' Anand said MESF wants all parties involved directly or indirectly to take the matter seriously. He said it is true that the allocations announced in previous years' budget presentations have been maximised for development purposes. An audit report on the funds spent should be provided. At the same time, he said Malaysia should be able to produce encouraging achievements in esports after receiving special allocations for the development of sports based on video games in the past few years. King of the Hill of Litua de Langkawi LTDL 2020, Muhammad Nur Aiman Muhammad Zarif, made the final cut as the Terengganu Polygon Cycling Team TSG finalised a list of 6 riders for LTDL 2022, which is scheduled to start this Tuesday. The cyclists listed by UCI Continental Team TSG for the 26th edition of LTDL are Anatoly Budiak, Metkiel, Ayub, Jambal Mams, Science Baya, Youssef Reguigui, Muhammad Harif Saleh and Nur Aiman, who is TSG's youngest rider. Its Chief Operating Officer Nasiruddin Wan Idrus said TSG made the final change by including Nur Aiman to replace Nur Amirul Fakhruddin Mazuki, who was on the initial list for TLTDL, the region's most prestigious race. He said the decision was based on the assessment of Nur Aiman's current performance, which was most encouraging when he was in action at the recent tour of Iran in Azerbaijan. According to Nasiruddin, TSG, rated as the best team on the Asian continent, have set a realistic target of a podium win and a yellow jersey, after taking into account the competition from continental and world elite teams in the LTDL race. This year's LTDL will have 8 stages, totaling 1,096.9 kilometres, with the race starting from Kuala Pilah in Negeri Sembilan and ending in Langkawi, Kedah on 18th October.
Petronas Litua de Langkawi Malaysia 2022, edisi ke-28. Selasa, 11 Oktober, secara langsung perlombaan peringkat pertama dengan laluan dari Kuala Pilah ke KLCC 3 petang dan sorotan harian 11.30 malam di saluran OK dan saluran sukan RTM.
And that concludes today's edition of Updates at Noon. In our top story today, chicken and egg subsidies extended till the end of the year. Tune in to News at 10, coming up at 10 p.m. on Saluran Berita RTM on My Freeviews channel 123. Or you can also stream the news by surfing RTM Click. I'm Mohana Priya. Stay tuned to TV2. Salam Keluarga Malaysia. Thank you for your company.